Smartphone batteries are dying faster than ever, but the numbers on the spec sheet keep getting bigger. A device that promises 2 days of use barely makes it through lunch, while manufacturers celebrate battery capacities that sound impressive on paper but fail to deliver in practice. The truth behind this disconnect reveals an industry more focused on marketing than meaningful improvement, and the evidence is hiding in plain sight. Modern smartphones pack batteries ranging from 4,000 to 6,000 milliamp hours, yet many users find themselves reaching for chargers more frequently than they did 5 years ago. The problem starts with how battery capacity is measured and advertised. Manufacturers list the typical capacity rather than the rated capacity, which can inflate numbers by up to 10%. A battery marketed as 5,000 milliamp hours might actually hold closer to 4,500 milliamp hours under normal conditions. This practice is legal but misleading, creating an immediate gap between expectation and reality. Screen technology shoulders much of the blame for declining battery performance. High refresh rate displays running at 120 Hz consume significantly more power than the 60 Hz panels common just a few years ago. While these screens deliver smoother scrolling and better gaming experiences, they drain batteries at rates that manufacturers rarely discuss openly. A phone running at 120 Hz can consume 20 to 30% more power than the same device locked at 60 Hz. Variable refresh rate technology attempts to address this by scaling between 1 and 120 Hz based on content, but real-world implementation often fails to optimize as effectively as claimed. Processor efficiency has improved dramatically over the past decade, with modern chips built on 3 and 4 nanometer processes consuming less power per operation than their predecessors. However, these efficiency gains are immediately offset by increased performance demands. Applications have grown more complex, background processes multiply with each software update, and always-on features like ambient displays and voice assistants create constant power draws that chip in throughout the day. A processor that uses less energy per task becomes irrelevant when the device is performing 10 times as many tasks. Software optimization plays a critical role in battery performance, yet it receives far less attention than hardware specifications. Operating systems have grown increasingly demanding, with each update adding features that run in the background. Location services, notification systems, app refresh cycles, and cloud synchronization all chip away at battery life in ways that are difficult to track or control. Some manufacturers implement aggressive battery management that restricts background activity, but this approach often breaks functionality for applications that rely on continuous operation. Camera systems represent another hidden power drain. Modern smartphones feature multiple lenses, advanced image processing, and computational photography techniques that require significant energy. Taking a single photo involves coordination between multiple sensors, processors, and software algorithms. Video recording, particularly at high resolutions and frame rates, can deplete a battery faster than almost any other activity. The marketing focuses on megapixels and zoom capabilities while glossing over the energy cost of these features. Fast charging technology sounds like a solution, but introduces its own complications. Pumping large amounts of power into a battery generates heat, which accelerates chemical degradation. A phone that charges from 0 to 80% in 30 minutes will experience faster battery aging than one that charges slowly overnight. Manufacturers promote charging speed as a feature, while downplaying the long-term cost to battery longevity. The trade-off might be worthwhile for users who prioritize convenience, but it remains poorly communicated. Thermal management directly impacts battery performance in ways that users rarely anticipate. Smartphones generate heat during normal operation, and this heat affects battery efficiency. Chemical reactions inside batteries slow down in cold temperatures and speed up when hot, leading to unpredictable performance. A phone that delivers 8 hours of use in a climate-controlled environment might only provide 5 hours in direct sunlight or during winter weather. Manufacturers test devices under ideal laboratory conditions that bear little resemblance to real-world usage patterns. The way brands measure and report battery life adds another layer of deception. Standardized tests exist, but manufacturers often create their own testing methodologies that favor their products. Screen brightness might be set lower than typical usage, wireless connections disabled, or test scenarios crafted to minimize power consumption. A device rated for 15 hours of video playback might struggle to achieve 10 hours of mixed use, involving social media, web browsing, and messaging. The testing parameters that generated the advertised numbers remain buried in fine print or never disclosed at all. Background synchronization represents a particularly insidious drain on battery life. Cloud services continuously sync photos, documents, and settings across devices. Email clients check for new messages every few minutes. Fitness apps track steps throughout the day. Weather applications update forecasts based on current location. Each of these processes seems minor in isolation, but together they create a constant background load that prevents the device from entering low-power states. Display brightness remains one of the most significant factors affecting battery life, yet manufacturers rarely emphasize this relationship. Modern smartphone screens can reach peak brightness levels exceeding 1000 nits for outdoor visibility and high dynamic range content. Running a display at maximum brightness can reduce battery life by 40 to 50% compared to moderate levels. Automatic brightness adjustment helps, but it tends to favor visibility over efficiency, often setting brightness higher than necessary. The push toward thinner devices has forced compromises in battery capacity. Physics dictates that a larger battery provides more capacity, but market pressure demands sleeker designs. Manufacturers choose to reduce battery thickness rather than maximize capacity, prioritizing aesthetics over performance. The difference between a phone that is 7 millimeters thick and one that is 8 millimeters thick might seem trivial, but that extra millimeter could translate to several hundred additional milliamp hours of capacity. Battery technology itself has stagnated relative to other smartphone components. Lithium-ion chemistry has improved incrementally over the past 2 decades, but energy density gains have been modest. Processors have become exponentially more powerful, cameras have increased in resolution by orders of magnitude, and display quality has improved dramatically. Battery technology has not kept pace, creating a widening gap between what phones can do and how long they can do it. Promises of revolutionary new battery technologies appear regularly in tech news, but rarely materialize in consumer products. The issue extends beyond individual user experience to environmental concerns. Devices with poor battery life get replaced more frequently, contributing to electronic waste. Batteries that degrade quickly end up in landfills, creating disposal challenges. The cycle of consumption accelerates as users seek devices with better battery performance, only to face the same disappointments within a year or two. Manufacturers benefit from this cycle through increased sales, but the costs are externalized to consumers and the environment. Understanding these realities empowers better decision-making when purchasing smartphones. Battery capacity numbers tell only part of the story. Screen technology, processor efficiency, software optimization, and usage patterns all contribute to actual battery life. The gap between marketing claims and real-world performance will likely persist as long as manufacturers prioritize impressive specifications over honest communication about what those specifications mean in practice.